Have you ever wondered what makes your mind work? Here's a really confusing question. Have you ever wondered if your character actually exists or not? That's where this book comes in. By applying neurological research to these questions, Egelman produced a series of great answers, which will take you on a comprehensive tour of your brain. Through the course of this summary, you will learn why London taxi drivers' brains are physiologically different from others, how your sense of smell affects your moral compass, and why Botox can make you. Chapter 1. Your changing brain. Can people really change? The truth is, people always change. In fact, neurologically, this change it is the only fixed element, and if you have this idea in the light of your personal experience, you probably saw that right. After all, you're not the same person you were 2 years old, are you? You're probably not the same person you were 2 years ago. If you take a moment to think about the evolution of your preferences, tastes, and attitudes. But how does that happen? And why do we change? The simplest answer is that it's all about the changing connections in our brains. That's because the synapses, connectors that transmit information, change as we age. We even lose those that are not reinforced by repetition. In childhood, these synapses work on our ability to learn and understand speech. And she stays with us because she repeats, because speech is an integral part of our lives. The change also applies to our personalities because every new information we get, every new book we read, and every new TV show we watch, and every new person we meet, they all form new links and formations of us. This ability is made possible by plasticity, or our mind's ability to learn through repetition. Although children's brains are higher in plasticity because they are new and adaptable, adults' brains can still learn new tricks too. Researchers at London College conducted a test on some taxi drivers in the city. After examining their brains, they found that these individuals already have more stones, the part of the brain responsible for our spatial memory. Their brain is bigger than ordinary people because they are remembering 25,000 streets in London, wrote 20,000 teachers, 320 different truths. They were all acquired during the 4 years of training. This strengthened this area of their brains because this knowledge was used practically every day in the job. Their brains were mainly working out all day, every day of their lives. This ongoing exercise literally made their brains bigger. Chapter 2. Your sense of reality is determined by you. You know what reality is, right? Reality is supposed to be objective, consistent, and real. But have you ever wondered exactly how realistic your reality is? Is your reality different from someone else's? This may seem scary to think about, but when the concept of reality is dismantled through neuroscience, it's really cool. For example, optical illusions. How does something that looked like a duck just minutes ago now look like a rabbit? This is a great example of how the brain can suddenly look like changing its mind about what is real and how he can do it in scenarios. More than fun visual illusions, this process happens because of the way your brain handles new information, because your understanding of reality does not depend on logic alone. In fact, it's a construction formed by your sensory organs that control your perception of sight, taste, and smell. The writer presents the example of skater Mike May. He lost his sight at the age of 3, although he underwent surgery aimed at restoring his sight in his 40s. However, this action was not a remarkable success, since May has already spent most of his life adjusting to being blind. Even in the figure skating profession, in this case its other senses have been compensated by growth. However, when he regained his sight, his full perception of reality was disrupted. He must be excited because he can see now as he expected. His brain was overloaded with new visual stimuli, so much so that the world has become a scary and overwhelming place. After learning to recognize his family through touch and smell, he found that he could not identify his children with his own eyes, which left him confused. Skiing has also become more difficult as it has struggled to adapt to visual stimulation. This confusion occurred because his brain had not yet learned to see, although we often tend to assume that our eyes work as video cameras transmitting information to our brain. Summary: our brains learn everything we understand about the world, but we often don't understand much about our brains. Understanding more about concepts such as plasticity, empathy, and sensory process can help us recognize our brains and appreciate the complex processes that guide our daily lives. This knowledge can also help us to feel confident in learning new things and retraining our brains. Development of compassion to achieve better relationships with others. I present to you Kindle Quotes.